Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let's get started, shall we? Charlie saying anything yet? No? Mic check, 1, 2. Let's check that the boys can hear it before I start ranting and raving. 1, 2, 1, 2. Excellent. Good morning. Yeah, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. Hope you all have wonderful weekends. And we're just going to chill and vibe to some nice piano music to start the week. What a nice voice. Thanks, Lowen. Yeah, I'm really going to talk about my plans kind of going into this week and what I'm looking for out of the market. This stream is brought to you by the wonderful people at Delta Exchange, who kindly sponsor it. So if you want to trade altcoin options in particular, there is a link down below. Check them out. I have a feeling they're going to play a big part of my portfolio, particularly in the next bull run in, according to Twitter, 2099 when I am dead. But at least we'll get another run, eh? So what's everyone's views? What's everyone's take? How's everyone feeling? Are you all macro bullish, bearish, in between? Good morning from Kazakhstan. Wow, good morning. How's everyone feeling? It's the year 2099. I've finally broken even. Is that in a real terms? You know, including inflation, or good afternoon from London? It's quite a diverse mix, isn't it? Where's everyone from? This is probably a good question. Snip snap, crab? Yeah, I like it, Lewin. Hey, Yak, how's it going? Macro crabbish. Hey, John. Crabby it up. From Greece? Wow. I bet it's nicer in Greece than it is in England. Paddyland. Top of the morning to you. Oh, God, please don't get me banned for that impression. Hot sunny every day. So sorry, Charlie, or your climate. Sorry, nice. Yeah, I mean, you don't live in England if you don't like a bit of rain, a bit of, cloud. But it is beautiful. There are parts of it that are nice. Sunny France. Moved out from the southwest. Ooh, an expat. Lovely. Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of nice places in the UK, to be honest, but yeah, you don't really come here for the weather, boys and girls. You definitely don't. But anyway, enough of Charlie travel rep for the UK. I don't have a ref link for UK, unfortunately. Ooh, nice. Let's start talking about the market. That's what you're all here for, really, isn't it? Not really weather bants. So where are we at? I mean, for me, I'm kind of neither macro bearish or bullish at this point. I actually think we've had quite a nice sell-off. I think we've had quite a nice, I suppose, longer term. Let me start that again. I think macroeconomy still looks like horseshit. I think from a crypto perspective, we've had a huge market-wide sell-off. We're having a nice bounce from that, and I think actually we're more likely to get volatility death and a little bit of ranging for the time being until macro does something particularly spectacular. But we'll see, and we'll kind of get onto my thought process in a bit. From a momentum perspective, you can see really simply the momentum is dying a little bit in either side. Like if you look at the strength on the 4 hour of this AO divergence, that basically it's very, very clean. If you look at what we're getting at the moment in terms of strength of move, and if you squint, it's sort of a divergence across that, but it's a real squint and it's a real push. And if you don't know what the AO is, it's the difference between two averages, and all it's doing is taking the difference between the two of them, and it's calculating it and just plotting it. So there you're seeing quite a large difference between short-term and longer-term momentum, and here you're not, which to me is more indicative of ranging price action than particularly volatile price action. So I'm not looking to set up any major swing longs from this position, because on a longer term time horizon I'm probably more bearish than I am bullish. That doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of short-term swings, of course. You're in the exact same trade. In my opinion, this move was liquidity grab, trap chart. Yeah, and NQ is... oh, I haven't loaded up my trad stuff. I mean, you could tell, right? This is, spot the open, brush, 0. But yeah, I'm not in a position where I'm thinking, okay, I can grab the greatest swing short of all time from, well, let's be honest, down here. I just want to play ranges. I want to play extremes, and I want to play divergences, and I want to play oddities. So they're the three kind of things I'm looking for. So from a range perspective, it's quite easy to identify some and just say, okay, well, here's a range play. We're at the mid-level. I took a little short earlier. This is like my warm-up trade. I try and warm up the week with smaller size trades to get myself back into it after a 2-day break. And it was very, very simple. It was literally, we've kind of swept the highs. I expect it to break down, momentum dying. Let's see if we can get the range lows. So far, it's going okay. Now, it's obviously a meme hindsight trade for all of you. But that's it. Like, I'm just looking for a small play. I'm not going to hold this. I'm not going to hold this for a breakdown. I'm not going to hold this to 0 or to 3,000 or whatever crazy target your favorite CT influencer is currently calling for. Doom and gloom. I genuinely think that we'll just pull back a little bit. We've had some nice relief rallies on alts, and I'll get into my thought processes on alts in a sec. The more astute of you would have noticed that there are a couple of alerts here and here. Now, based on my opinion that this is a range, and that the lack of momentum, particularly over and going into the summer months, is going to end up with us in some form of a range, and I think this is it. And based off that, then trades for me are basically fading the extremes. That is a terribly drawn line, but my assumption is that we go under. We'd maybe take some. We either play off a rejection, in which case I'll play something down to these lows. We either come back and reclaim in which case I'll look to get long, target 1, target 2, or we do it the other way around, and it's the same kind of thing. So just simple range plays. Now for me, sizing isn't going to be large unless I can get some decent confluence in the form of divergences and the form of momentum. But at the moment, the signals aren't particularly nice and clear. So yeah, I would want to see a classic something like that, divergence, entry 1. That arrow's pointing the wrong way. Entry 1. Let's move it down a little bit because this is far too aggressive. And then entry 2 on the retest, and start building size and building conviction that that's actually going to come back into the range. So yeah, a lot of my sizing is based off expectancy, and expectancy increases with confluence of more factors coming into your trade thesis. That momentum is dying, you are getting a clean div, etc., etc. Come on, Charlie, believe in yourself. What do you mean? And hey, Franco. 0. Hey, Shredders. Seems good. Yeah, and that's it for me. Like Bitcoin isn't that exciting. I'm not trading on an intraday basis particularly. I know a lot of Chad traders in our group look at it on the 1 second chart, look at order flow, and can take some incredible positions based off that. That's unfortunately not me. If any of you have followed me, well, I wasn't looking for the best swing trade of my life. Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe this is the generational bottom. Never below 17k again. I just think we marked out the generational bottom at one point on one stream, didn't we? Just for memes. Which shitty version of the chart was it? Yeah, 6585. Yeah, imagine. I honestly wonder how many people would be here if we got to those kind of levels. Again, not thinking that we do. I'm not suggesting it for a moment. But yeah, I kind of don't think the wider pain has been felt just yet in macro. But yeah, I noticed the viewer drop declining. You know, everyone's leaving because they've seen a 6585 line on BTC. So that's it. I better quickly draw one at 100k and say this is where the moon card has told me it's going. Yeah, there we go, boys. There we go. Arbitrary level. $100,586. Huge volume gap from 69k to 100k. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Let's fill this void, guys. There's probably a single print up here somewhere that we can meme. Look, there it is. Single print. Let's go. But no. I'll stop memeing. Because whilst it's fun and enjoyable. Oof. So my thought process on alts, generally, there's two things that I like to do, and I've kind of spoken about that a little bit with BTC. So I like taking extremes and I like taking oddities. So I like preferably longing strong alts, which Spaghetti tells you, and also playing outliers in the data. So one trade that I took earlier was this. I shorted XTZ. I didn't get filled for basically any of it. So it was a very small position relative to what I wanted. But you can quite quickly see using Spaghetti that this is a huge outlier. Now I don't know whether it was a news pump or something like that for Tezos or quite what it was. But if you go to, it was actually literally 30 seconds after I deleted it off my in-play alt list. So it was just let's prove Charlie wrong in the first minute of the day, basically. So I took the short up here. Zoom out very quickly. So I had this kind of very messy, actually, in hindsight, level-ish marked off the chart. So I quickly flicked to it, could see that this was just a random kind of pump up. I managed to fade it and close it down here somewhere. Obviously it then ran again and it's died again, but it's quite easy to see on Spaghetti that this is a fairly big outlier, and when I was looking at it, it looked a bit more like that. So, you know, check that would be sell, I imagine, because sell has been very, very high beta. Yeah, as you can see. Though I did trade it last week, and I might talk through that. Oh, what's the indicator below AO? It's RSI. KZX, RSI. You can just find it by typing in here. Bang, done. That one. So yeah, Spaghetti is, you know, I always advocate it. It gives you opportunities, not necessarily to take a trade directly off it, but to highlight areas of interest. I've got just a list of stuff that I look at. it changes based on what I'm interested in and what I'm seeing just from either Levitas or flicking through, generally FTX, what is performing well or badly in 24 hours, taking a look at that chart and seeing if there are areas of interest that I want to participate in. But I can tell you guys that most alt charts, right, most alt charts look like one of the sort of three things over the last month or two. So we had a really strong sell-off, we had a pretty nice bounce, and then we had some consolidation, and then we had a drop, then we had a little bit more consolidation and kind of a slow grind up. Now this is where most of them differ, right? So let's just draw a meme line there. Now you've got alts that look like this, that have reclaimed that level. So we'll do that as green. We've got alts that are kind of approaching that level and are not really doing much. We'll call that orange. If I can actually change colours. Boomer Charlie strikes again. And we've kind of got alts that are still just under here. And they're the three kind of different places of alt strength. Now there are some exceptions, but generally the entire alt market looks like that. So I guess from a trading perspective, you kind of have to think, or this is how I'm thinking about it, what do I want to see to take positions on any of this? So bearing in mind that they are all reflexive of BTC, and all of this is high beta on BTC, and I'm currently in a small BTC short position from 21, whatever it was. Am I looking for longs or shorts? And am I looking for swing longs or swing shorts? Let's take a look at Matic. Yeah, sure, I'll add it to, actually got it on my list. Yes, I'll take a look at Matic. But yeah, so there are kind of three or four different plays, I guess. And it's like, if I want to be long anything, I want to be longing these coins. So there are a couple of coins like that that have reclaimed this level, potentially. If I want to short anything, do I want to be shorting the strongest coin that's gone into that level, broken it, reclaimed it? Maybe not. Do I want to short something that hasn't yet reclaimed it and looks like it's setting up for rejection? Yes. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of the market. 1, 2, and 3. That's it, right? So you've got a few different setups. We'll have a look at Matic, because I actually think Matic is one of the stronger ones because it has actually reclaimed it. But as you can see right now, we are kind of losing that previous level. Now it's not clean, it's not the cleanest, but this is the breakdown, and to me, that, if I wanted to get short with an invalidation there, I could. You've had some, they're not really divs, they're quite broken in terms of structure, so I couldn't have taken that as a trade even if I was about to trade it. And down here, I haven't got any confluence in terms of that momentum. So this is just a loss in structure trade, which to me isn't strong enough to go in with size, conviction, blah blah blah. AVAX, AVAX is on my list, sir. We will get to that one in a quick moment. But we did have some really weird behaviour on Matic. And by weird, I mean Matic was one of the coins that literally went vertical one day. It literally just went boop. And to me, I don't like those, in a 1 minute chart, those completely inefficient moves. That kind of smells of, I don't want to say it, I don't want to be one of these, tinfoil hat conspiracy people, but it kind of stinks of like manipulation. And I just don't trust that as much as I would an organic slow grind up. Now that sounds odd because the meme is, stairway up, elevator down, right? That's the meme. But what I don't want is a 1 minute candle that just goes like that for 10%. It was that, wasn't it? Okay, so it's not a 1 minute candle, but you kind of get my point, right? So, can I take a short from here right now? I mean, I could do. I could look at this as just a low time frame range. I can take out my meme level that's actually like a couple of percent, which isn't particularly clean, but we won't tell people that. Start drawing these lows. Maybe these. Not pretty. Not pretty. And assume that we're going to get trend continuation down. I start building a position up here, some form of rejection. Start building in. What is wrong with me? I'm not going to play computer games today because my aim is horrifically off. Start building it and trying to ride that momentum down. You could do that. I'm not. I need something that's kind of actionable and a bit more preemptive. For me, I'm not going to go into this. But that's certainly how you could ride it. So, you're looking at this, it's kind of a bar, isn't it, in the making, potentially. Yeah, I'm always conscious because whenever I've talked about short positions on stream, they've always played out, basically. And I remember talking to Salience, who came on and said I was shorting Bitcoin. The Bitcoin chart looked like this with the whole chop, and then it yeeted up, and then it started going down. And I said, well, now's not a terrible time to do it, but obviously I'm not, and it just went and died off and full barted. But so it's almost like 100% hit rate on trades that I don't take. So yeah, do with that information as you will. But hopefully that gives you a good kind of insight into my personal thought process, like with these alts and how I would or wouldn't play them. So I've deleted my big meme level, which again is not super clean in terms of the touches, but gives you an overview. London been making or marking, daily high very often lately. Noticed it played out. Yeah. I think you need to warm up on AIM Labs before the stream. Scuffed streamer. Wow. Oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, Matic's one of the markets that I would rather see, a structural move down, and then a reclaim above, and it would give me a little bit more confidence that actually this level is probably going to hold for a bit more of a move up, maybe to somewhere like here. But I'd want to see the confluence of strength on low time frame. I'd want to see obviously some form of strength on BTC as well. Bearing in mind my current view is that I'm short. I expect a pullback if Bitcoin goes to or holds range low or reclaims range low, and we get something like this on Matic and we can reclaim this level, and then I expect Bitcoin is going to go up, and therefore I expect Matic to go up. So it's kind of a second order logic flow, but I can't really position myself long on alts whilst I'm in a BTC short position. Does that make sense? Unless I'm trying to effectively take the pair trade of BTC and random alt. So yeah, that's Matic. That's my thoughts on Matic. I can't take this position, but other people certainly can if they want to. What was the other one? AVAX. That's what I want to point out. Yeah, AVAX is quite a bit nicer in terms of it. For me, it hasn't reclaimed this level at all. It's kind of grinding underneath it, and you've got almost so from a 4-hour perspective, hasn't reclaimed this prior choppy range, and it's almost exactly the pattern that I mapped out of the old liquidity cascade, the reverse parabola, which no one takes seriously, but is a wonderful little meme. And then a few bounces, holding a level, failed to break out of any kind of diagonal consolidation, and the same thing down at the bottom. We've just got a level where it was picked up until demand just said no. And we haven't reclaimed that yet. Not even lower time frame. We've had fairly clean ranges with a similar sweep in to this area, rejection, again, just failure. You're thinking if we lose that level on Matic, we go back down to 50? Sorry, I know I'm flitting a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, I mean that's the start of that completely inefficient move. It's not a bad target at all, I would suggest. Let me delete that crap. But yeah, with AVAX, it's a different story. It's that sort of third alt that we were talking about. It's moved up into this position. We have had some signals already that momentum isn't as strong, but they've played out, right? So you've got it's a shit divergence from an RSI perspective, because the angle of that line essentially is terrible. So that versus a divergence like that, in terms of price. So if you saw price do this, that is far more effective in terms of that. Hope you all understand why, and why I'm saying that that's not as effective, but you have got some nice confluence of actually the AO is dying momentum-wise, and that is dying momentum-wise. We're still just above the 50 on the 4 hour. But yeah, that from my perspective has played out there. That was the div play. But because momentum is still going down, you could argue shorting the range low and riding this down is a good trade. Gig and you to the lows and bounce that shit. Yeah. I'm actually drinking a cup of tea for once. Instead of my instant coffee. But this is I did take a position on this morning actually, didn't I? Let me just check my FTX account. Yes. I shorted 2870, which isn't ideal. So I've got a small, again, short position down here, purely because it's one of the weaker three, or one of the weaker alts in that 1, 2, 3 sort of alt setup I was talking about. So that's my generational snipe, which is actually a 10th of my position size. So let's again not get too excited. But yeah, AVAX I like for that kind of short continuation play. So if we are going to get a proper rotation again to the downside and rejection from this level, then I would expect that this stops going down whenever Bitcoin finds demand. So I don't want to take alt longs whilst I'm short BTC, but I'll happily short something that is relatively weak compared to the rest of the altcoin market. And people always ask me that question of what one do I short? Do I short the altcoin that's gone like this, or do I short the altcoin that's gone like this? And the answer is, it's really up to you. I personally find it harder shorting altcoins that look like this in this market at this moment in time. And the reason is that if I'm wrong on my Bitcoin trade, that's likely to blow me out far quicker than this. So I've almost got more time and less risk. But the high beta altcoins tend to die faster if the sell-off on BTC is strong, but if it's a slow grind down, then they can move against you quite quickly. So it's condition dependent, and it depends on how active you are trading or not, and it depends on the individual altcoin setup themselves. So if you've got like a 4-hour setup on, say, your very, very high beta altcoin that looks like this, and you are considering shorting that, there might not be a divergence in terms of momentum, but you've got a nice lower high to take an invalidation point from, and you think, okay, well, the confluence is lined up here, I've got a very clean invalidation off the top, that's it, I will take that. And generally I would want to see a parabolic run up, and by parabolic I mean like genuinely something like this, because once you've had that parabola, once you've had that run, particularly in these conditions, it's more likely that it dries up, the interest is dead, and you can short that. So something like that would be the example. Anyway, I'm gonna stop there, because that's probably a lot to take in. Good example is Doge. I haven't actually looked at Doge in a long time. I genuinely haven't. My lines on Doge are probably in Africa somewhere. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's quite a nice example actually. A little bit of, it's not super clean. I think that was a good one on Lux. Yeah, there you go. You know, mean parabola broken. Okay, so it's not actually died off, but a useful view of hype. Yeah, you mentioned Doge actually, so yeah, interesting. $9.6k. What do you mean, Eon Games? Is that your ETH target? 9.6k? Top on near an ape. Yeah, and that's it. People genuinely underestimate like the parabola meme, but I quite like it. As an altcoin trader, it's not to say that you take everything off it, and you definitely take it with a pinch of salt, right? You don't say, oh look, it's almost as good as technical falling wedge patterns and all this kind of stuff without some form of context is relatively useless. But yeah, it's about curbing your expectations when you see something that is parabolic in its nature. Yeah, that's it. Your parabola trend is broken. Nice stream. I wish you could pimp your microphone sound quality though. What's wrong with my sound? I spent like 300 quid on this piece of shit microphone. Not that I'm a tight ass or anything, I've probably spent that in trading fees today, but when it's real money, it sounds like the laptop microphone. Fucking hell, yeah. My streaming room is bouncing the sound about. Sounds like you're far away. Mate, it's like in my face. No, it's reverb. Poor Charlie. You gotta add furniture. Need a bigger rug. Alright. It's like a big empty room. It is a big empty room, to be fair. I've got a few paintings up. I've got a few pictures. But yeah, it is quite a big empty room. But it's likely the room. Ah, okay. Yeah, a few Picassos. I got a Beeple. I got a Beeple next to me. No Picassos though, I'm afraid. Cover with foam? It is covered with foam. Oh, I don't know, I'm retarded. But anyway, this isn't the time to... I'll just accept, guys, that my mic setup is dog shit. And I will test some things out for the next stream. Good Dumpola volume. Let's take all this shit off. Right, let's go down a bit lower. Let's see if we can find something interesting. Oh. Some live stream content. So you know, this goes a lot of what I'm doing is trying to find a time frame where it makes sense. I can't really explain that to you, I don't think, in terms of like what my thought process is. Maybe that's one for me to think on and on how I explain. But I'm kind of going between 1 second and 1 minute generally. 1 second obviously is like a little bit too much, a bit too messy most of the time. 5 seconds is a bit easier to kind of catch those pivot points. So what I'm really interested in is here, which is basically the open, because that's sort of my high as denominated by this wonderful pivots high-low indicator, and then anchoring my view on that. And you can already see there's a couple of exceptions. Anyone care to guess what that is? The wider gaps towards the right? Yeah, kind of. What did I say? Oh, like what's the exception here? What looks odd or interesting? Because this is a lot of how I trade. On lower time frame, very, very, very small intraday trades. Ape and spell, correct. Yeah, it's the outliers. It's what is showing strength and what's recovering quickly. And a lot of what I'd be doing, which unironically we are on the ape chart, it's as if it was planned. I'll say it was. Look, a wonderful V reversal. And how soon could you tell that was going to happen? You know, would you have longed the Pico bottom? Probably not. But you can start looking at, well, actually, from a recovery perspective, it's one of the quickest to recover. And even up here, you know, if you started longing stuff up here, that's still a few percent. Now, I'm not saying just long it because it's out here, but you can see that it's quite an exception, and it's quite an exception quite quickly. You know, up here, it just moves away from the pack, completely moves away. That's a lot of what it was scripted. In fact, on my other PC, I've just been buying ape, just been market buying, buy, just for the purposes of the stream. I mean, I've lost, you know, $10,000, but that's fine. And now I'm selling it, see? but that's a good example of, if I wasn't streaming, I probably would have tried to trade that. Now, whether I would have been successful or not is a different story, right? So don't think that every trade I take is a winner or anything like that. I'm always very transparent in that I lose a lot of trades as well. But yeah, that's a lot of what I'm looking at, and it's times like these when there is volatility. So London Open, New York Open, they are typically good times for me personally to trade, just because when I'm about, I don't stay on till 3 in the morning to catch those kind of moves at that point. My time, which is obviously UK time, just to clarify. Imagine how many better microphones you could have bought with that 10k. Chat's dunking on me today, I love it. It's true. I know. I could have bought some of that foam, and I felt like I was in a mental institution. Do you ever play the reversion on the outliers, e.g. long the worst performer in anticipation of it rejoining the pack? Yes, I do. So it's probably not on this kind of time frame. It's not on the sort of second chart that I'm looking to play something like that. But I'll actually talk through a trade that I took last week, which was quite an interesting one, quite a different one. And this is one of the only ones I've it's not one of the only ones. I share quite a few trades in the group, but this was one of the ones where I was really nervous about sharing it, because it's such an illiquid piece of shit, basically. But Sell, as you will probably have seen, and as I'm sure you all know, has been a very, very high beta alt to trade in both directions. It's been on lower time frame. It doesn't really matter where you zoom in or out of. It's been a wild ride. It's kind of almost always at the top or the bottom. See, it doesn't really matter where I'm flipping. It's always at these extremes. So it's been interesting to trade, but you cannot trade it, or I cannot trade it, let me put it that way, with big size. So if you want to try and get filled 7 figures on this, you're going to get your ass fucking handed to you. So please bear that in mind when I'm talking about this. I'm not trying to make my retirement money out of scalping and playing with this, but I am trying to make a few shekels for a new microphone or some foam to pad my room. Yeah, news-driven stuff would scare you. It doesn't scare me, it's just something that you have to react to and bear in mind. So I was looking at Sell just from a very simple 4-hour perspective back here. So we've got some relatively clean levels. We've nowhere near, if you're talking about the setup that I was talking about earlier in terms of like the previous range and sell-off, obviously this was much more brutal than anything. And then we had this smaller sell-off. We had a slight divergence down here. Could have been a decent trade. I didn't take it. I'm not LARPing. But yeah, almost instant blast back through. Chop. And where I was interested in playing was here, purely off the basis of if you sit back, we've had a lot of bad news resell, right? So in my view, most of that was absorbed. We've had a pretty strong uptrend, a pretty parabolic move, back down into a very clean level from a 4-hour perspective. Failed to break through there, rejection, blast up, complete rejection down. Let's take some of my shit off. And here, again, interesting kind of pivot, right? Blast through, reject down, rejection, blast through, flip. Okay, so it was quite nice. And down here, what I noticed was a nice divergence down here on the 30 min AO. Not hugely strong, but enough for me to start building a position. But what I had to do is obviously manage it through this, etc., and take some off during it. Now, I didn't get filled on everything that I wanted to when I rebuilt a position in here. And again, it was only a small position, but honestly, these books are thin as anything. And yeah, it was a trade that I didn't feel good about, but I had a theory. I had a pretty clean level. I had a very clean invalidation in terms of this kind of 85 level. And I had a decent reason to try and jump on board. And I think I got out for about 20% in the end, which wasn't too bad, but it did run 40. And that was because I tried to cover off and risk manage my position a lot, purely to protect myself from the downside, which eventually came. And again, we retested that level. So if I was really actively trading, and I was up at 7 o'clock this morning, which I was not, because I went to see Elton John last night, which was wonderful. That would have potentially been a nice little short trigger. But yeah, just because there's news surrounding things doesn't mean you can't trade it. It was honestly the liquidity was the problem for me on this trade, and it was why I was a bit cringe talking about it. But equally, I did put it on Twitter actually. I think on a different chart setup where I said this would make me really happy. A smiley face, purely because it doesn't matter in crypto. What was it, SRN, where the CEO went to jail. CEO is in jail. The product isn't working. There's nothing out there. It's a 7 million market cap product, but it had perps on FTX. Went 10x. Crypto doesn't have to be hugely rational. But yeah, in all honesty, protection on this one is why I only got 20% out of it and not 40%. Like you said, semi-news fear, but equally, I didn't know what else that they could have said that would have made this any more shit than it already is, other than, it's gone. Hello, Vahu. I've probably butchered your name, so apologies for that. The cup and balls pattern. Yeah, the classic. The classic cup and balls. Lovely. Atom was another one I had on my radar. Yeah, everyone's got bullish on Atom. I kind of don't feel the need to be bullish right here. Momentum. Dying. Consolidation. Under resistance. Again, of all the alts, is it in that 1, 2, 3 kind of category? Well, choose for yourself. But I think this is the time for me where I'm paying attention to bigger swing trades, but they're not my generational, positional trades and investments. So I'm not trying to capture the swing of life, but I will think about, well, actually, this is a good area for places to reject from, and determine probably the next couple of weeks of trend. Oh, I have so much to learn. I'll tell you this, Ultra Pancakes, which I love your name, by the way. Every day, the market teaches us something. This is why I love it, because every day it's different, right? Every day is different, and some days you learn that a 20% yield isn't infinitely sustainable. Some days you learn that the greatest traders of our time, 3 arrows, are actually not the greatest traders of our time. There's always quite a few shocks and twists and turns in these dramatic plots of the markets. And tomorrow you might see something come out about, I don't know, FTX. I hope not, but I've got your yield is not the yield, yeah. But you just don't know. And again, that's no FUD against FTX. It's just learn as much as possible. Yeah, I think so. And I mean, for me, it's always have a plan and think about your thoughts and think about where you're wrong, protect your capital, and that includes things like exchange risk, paying your taxes, all that kind of crap. So I've ranted enough about that on other streams, so I'm not going to do it again today. Sam under Biden protection. Well, I mean, technically I've donated to Biden through my altruistic ventures on FTX. Oh, late as fuck. Sorry, mate. I'll publish this afterwards. You just might have to wait a little bit to watch it in good quality. As some of my YouTubers said when it was still rendering. Yeah, I saw that Anonymous video on Do Kwon. It's I've got to say I love Anonymous. Not just in case they're watching, but because their videos are quality. You know. Expect us. Oh, what's more ominous than that? What's more ominous than that? But yeah, so I think we covered off Atom, covered off AVAX, and that is looking rather nice. So, yeah, wishing you the best, praying for your downfall is my current scenario. Yeah, that's not too bad, is it? Right, sorry, I'll be off pace reading chat. So yeah, we've covered Atom, covered AVAX, covered Matic. Litecoin was another one that I had on my radar, but again, it's similar kind of setup, similar kind of vibes of, okay, we're coming up, retesting this. Momentum on the 4 hour was actually looking a little bit unclean in terms of a signal. No divergences or anything to take, so again, it's more about, for me, if it can start flipping levels and start getting strength, etc. Rune, Rune's one of my babies. I've still got a bag of that, which I've held for a long time. I was trying to take a short down here and got absolutely blown out on paper. I mean, it played out a little bit. You can kind of see there, can't you? Quite clean divergences. I was talking about down here wanting that third drive and that triple divergence, and it did happen and it did play out, but the trend just continued. I didn't actually take that trade, but if I did take it, I would have got blown out. So I would have lost that at break even, at best. SAN is in my list of formerly interesting stuff. And RSR is very, very messy. But RSR has shown a lot of strength historically. Again, that was quite clean. But no, I did not take it. So yeah, let me just catch up on chat for 2 seconds. Talk a bit about Arena GL, seems pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've minted a few of the hackers, and I've been getting my daily tokens when I've played CS. So you literally just start up CS, you connect it to your Steam account. It's just view permissions only, so they can't, take your skins or anything like that. And once you've played your 30 minutes of deathmatch or CS with Jim, carrying the boys on crypto Twitter, you get, I think it's 300 or something, or 150 free coins. Aren't they shilling a token in that bit? Oh, in the anonymous vid? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, 350. So I've got a couple of thousand now. I don't know how much they're going to be worth, what they're going to do, but I love the idea of like being rewarded for playing games, just because I'm a gamer basically, and like game to earn is fantastic for me personally as someone who enjoys it as a hobby. Do you play with a keyboard or mouse and controller? There's a keyboard and a mouse, mate. Buy Bitcoin good now, stop loss, entry and TP please. Buy now, target 100 million, stop loss 0. In it for the tech. Yeah, I'm just not interested in buying here, mate. I kind of covered it off earlier in the stream, but yeah, I would want to see to actually buy any like physical spot, not physical, but you get what I mean, to buy any spot. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be buying spot for a while. Good, just did loan with a company called 3AC. Yeah, good company, mate. Good company. On the plus side, you probably won't have to pay it back, so. Physical Bitcoin, I know. Oh, sorry, boys. It was a late one last night. You know what I mean. Spot BTC. Yeah, I mean, the only other thing is that I see on Twitter is TRX, and everyone's celebrating, you know, the return of our overlord, Justin Sun. I'm just not that interested in trading it up here, personally. Do I want to fade it? Not really. Is it fadeable? Probably. Yeah, I've got no interest in trading it here. No interest at all. If people have caught longs and scaled into spot and done whatever and want to ride it for some form of meme parabola run, as it tends to do, you know, again, I talk about parabolas, but, you know, there's one. There's one. Not particularly pretty. Well, that's probably not particularly clean. But you kind of get my point, right? I'm not gonna be fucking memed into being the parabola trader, right? You can call me spaghetti trader, but not parabola. But it's just an interesting way to look at momentum from a price perspective. Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. You've got a difference of opinion there around the whole USDD narrative. Look at TRX on the monthly. Is it going to infinity? Let's just delete all these fucking lines. What is that? Horrific. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know what you guys see. I'm not super excited by that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super hyped about TRX. I'm not super hyped about USDD. I've got no position in it, so I'm not trying to, spread any FUD or anything like that. Justin didn't fuck my wife, so that I know of, I should probably say. so I've got no, strong views on it. But I can't take a position in it now. You could try something like long off that, but yeah, not for me. Not for me, boys and girls. Just another nonsense narrative that people blow themselves out trying to trade that chart. I think that's it. I think there are some really, when narratives pick up, so I love a chart that looks like this when narratives start picking up. And because it basically means that you can long it at any fucking point and, not be wrong. The demand is basically constant. That is far easier than this. This is fucking... I mean, that's barely... If you whack an EMA on this... Let's just do it. It's barely pointing up. It's not particularly strong. It's relatively strong compared to the rest of the market. I kind of get that, right? But it's not the easiest to trade, I don't think. So someone said, how about longing 2300? Let me just turn some of this stuff off. 2300. I mean, I'm just not someone that operates on the basis of arbitrary numbers. I assume that what you're trying to do is kind of draw a level off here, or where this starts kind of dropping off a bit. But yeah, I prefer slightly higher time frame touch points, which is why I've drawn my levels here. And again, I'm not someone who will say that you have to draw your level at the candle closes. I personally like wicks. A lot of people don't. It generally depends on the structure of the wicks if you're actually being really super technical about it, and how inefficient or efficient they were. But yeah, that kind of lecture is probably for a different day. So I don't have a super strict way of drawing it all. Actually, Trader Magus has got a really clean way of drawing all his levels, and so that he does it consistently, which I really like and admire, but I don't. I think, thousands and thousands of hours of staring at charts, you just kind of just draw it, and obviously this helps the cross, just so when you're putting your crosshair somewhere, you can kind of see it lining up. How many people short that local bottom? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are using news to take trades, it seems. And the market feels very sensitive to news, or at least that's my interpretation. And I think that's a really bad thing for people who aren't news traders. So there are some people who make a living of trading news, and they do it very well. So Tree of Alpha is one of them. He trades off, he does a lot of different trades from my understanding, but largely he does news-driven trades. Can you do a specific option stream? Yeah, I can, but I'm not an options trader. That's not my main strength. My main strength is altcoins. But yeah, that would probably be a good one. Just some basics. Yeah, there are bots that buy Doge every time Elon tweets. Yeah, I mean it's great, and you can kind of see. This is why I love spaghetti, is that you can see what's happening. You can almost preempt the news because the news is printed in the chart. Nothing particularly. No, we've got sell again. But no 10% glaring candles. RSR looks. Let's have a peep. Meme TA line works again. I'll save the market, boys. CBS loves his options. No, he's nailed a few great options trades. Read Sheldon Natenberg's books on options, whoever asked. I've not read them myself, but yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, boys and girls, I think unless there's any major questions, I think I've been through some of my setups that I'm looking for the week. I've told you the positions I'm in and my thoughts on the market generally at the moment. And you've told me that my mic setup is dog shit and that my room needs soundproofing or something. So I will spend this week trying to sort my mic out. Wednesday is the big day to watch out since panel speaking. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of news. We're going to see how that shapes up. Later in the week. But yeah, guys, any questions before I finish up? If not, I'll make myself another well-deserved cup of tea and start researching how to sound like I'm not in a washing machine. No, I appreciate all you guys for being here. It's honestly, I didn't stream years ago because I just thought that people wouldn't be that interested. But it's nice to have people here, and I do genuinely really appreciate the support and particularly the participation. So when people are asking questions, it makes streaming for me a lot easier, and it makes that kind of two-way conversation hopefully much better for you guys and a bit more interesting, I guess. Where I'm from? I'm from the UK, England. When generational bottom, when Lambo. So that's actually two more questions, mate. So, failed that test, haven't you? Generational bottom, we've marked out in a previous stream, and it is, you're not going to like it, it's 6585. And it's March 2023. So it's not long to wait, but you've got to endure a lot of pain. You have a great radio voice. Yeah, my friends say I've got a great face for radio as well. We've just got a little reverb. Yeah, no, this is a meme, guys. Please don't fucking take that seriously. we drew it on stream ages ago. Blind just went like that and drew a line. And that was the meme that everyone is doing on Twitter at the moment. They're just zooming into the lows. And they're just doing this with their mouse and going, right, let's Alt and H at some point. There. Okay, so it's 8914. That's the new generational bottom for Bitcoin this week. That genuinely seems like a lot of the analysis in regards to forecasting a low. I just don't believe that you can forecast that far in time. What you can do, if we get down to that kind of region, is say, okay, well, I think from a recessionary perspective we haven't started. I think we're going to have a significant drawdown. I think it's going to be, in the lines of kind of 50% still from here. Actually, and then when price does this, and does a huge sell-off, we start seeing that kind of momentum shift, and we either bounce back up, which is what a lot of people expect, or we do what's happened in a lot of previous cycles is we establish some form of range at the lows, and we get a huge sell-off, and then we establish a range like this, and then we probably get another sell-off, and then we start moving on. But yeah, if we do that, then expect that range or accumulation, as some people might call it, to be quite significant in terms of time. But yeah, like, I don't think there's no merit in saying, oh, I called the 9,056 or the 6,585 bottom 6 months before it. You fucking pull the number out of your asshole, and well done. Like, I just, yeah. Anyway, that's called TA. Yeah, maybe. Oh, that's a really good point though, Pancakes. I'm gonna hit on that. Sorry, I keep going. I've said I'm gonna log off, but that's a really good point. There's so many people saying it's bottomed and others saying it's super low, right? This is where you have to make your own decision based on whatever system you want to follow, based on whatever data you want to collect, based on whatever view you have, because at the end of the day, that is where you are going to put your money, right? If you're putting it in off my view, and you just want someone to blame if it goes wrong, that's fine, right? But it doesn't really work long term. Like, you have to have a view. You have to say, does this look like a cycle bottom? Does this look like an accumulation period? Does this look like a good time to buy? Yeah, okay, maybe I'll buy a little bit now, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and DCA. Is there still a future for Bitcoin? Is probably the first question you should be asking yourself. I'm guessing most of you think that it is. That there is a future for BTC, and if you do, and you do think we're going to start moving up at some point, and there is going to be another cycle, which by the way I do, then great, that's step one. Where do you think is, what signs do you want to see to get bullish again on Bitcoin? Is it as simple as a macro high or low on a daily, 3-day, weekly time frame? Is it a 200 MA cross? Is it something else? Is it, Bitcoin being the currency for Tesla? I don't know. Be whatever the fuck you want, right? It doesn't have to be technicals. It can be fundamentals. It could be on-chain if you want, or moon signals, right? But you have to come up with something that's going to convince you, and then preferably backtest that theory and say, okay, well, generally, when I'll give you something here, even something like a 3-day, is it 3-day? I'm trying to think what it was. A 3-day awesome oscillator cross, right? I did this in the in my AO video, and I joked that it's still out-traded 99% of crypto Twitter. But if you look at it, right, ignore this actually, but there, that's where you would have sold. So somewhere around here. That's where you would have bought. Again, here. That's where you would have sold. Here. And etc. etc. You got absolutely stuffed on that move, Bosch. But that would have out-traded 99% of people. So even if you're going to just do something really simple like that, yeah. If you want to see a 3-day AO cross before you get bullish, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for you personally, but do something like that. So I know that was a bit of a rant, but you have to decipher all the bullshit, right? And a lot of people will tweet things for engagement, whether that's, my long target of $100,000, or whether it's my generational bottom for 6,585, which both are numbers I pulled out my ass. So, yeah. Do what makes sense to you. And what makes sense to me is momentum, price action, and macro. Hedge funds have targeted Tether, borrowing hundreds of millions in loans to short USDT. Now that'd be interesting, if that was true. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people told you so, clout trader economy. Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? A lot of people act like they don't lose trades, and I lose trades all the time. That doesn't mean I'm not a profitable trader. Like, that's part of it. So you get a lot of people who are like, expect people to be broken over one trade idea that goes wrong. Like, fuck me. It's beyond. Watch people gather confidence. Yeah, I mean, I learn a lot from other people still, right? And I still like to think about other people's views. Like, I had XO on this stream last week, and, you know, he's incredible. He's an incredible trader. Does that mean that I'm not going to take a position against his view? Absolutely fucking not. You know, I will take, if I want a long Matic and he wants to short it, great, we'll let the market decide. You know, I'm not gonna be influenced like that. But having other people's perspective and building a network generally will help you massively in this market. And looking at ways that other people see it can make you question your own views and beliefs. But as long as you've got a systematic approach that you're comfortable with, and you can say, well, he's bearish, but I'm bullish. I'm bullish for these reasons, he's bearish for these, that's fine. You know, we'll see what happens. I'm not to target him specifically, obviously. Trader XO is a fucking incredible trader, and it would probably make me a little bit sweaty if I was in an opposing trade to him, but it wouldn't stop me from taking the trade. Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat. Reserve currency on Mars, that's my signal, then eventually the galaxy. Yeah. There's probably a high expectancy that will go up after that. What do I find convincing for long-term Bitcoin not dying? Greed. Human greed. And the need to gamble. It's kind of the best infinite, ultimate Ponzi. Like, look at the National Lottery, right? Like, how the fuck every week is there a Euro Millions that is like 130 odd million or something like that? It's because people want to break free. They want to break free from the financial system. They want to be that millionaire that's idolised on social media. You know, they want to be sucked off by that model while sat in their Lambo. Do you know what I mean? That's the dream that seems to be sold to everyone these days. And this is one of the ways that people can quote unquote easily do it. I don't think that that's ever going to go away, and the fact that people have done it time and time again is, you know, it's going to resonate with people still. And I just think that I don't necessarily think that, you know, store of value and only 21 million and blah 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 is the whole, you know, is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But yeah, that's one thing. And the other thing is that there could be still Bitcoin as an inflation hedge. Now, I've not, like, clearly it fucking isn't right now. Clearly it isn't. But if you start getting a lot more panic in traditional currencies, you know, the pound, the dollar, something like that, like real full-on like hyperinflation, then we could see a migration to crypto. Now, from a positioning perspective, you know, I'm not going to position my financial future on something that I think has a less than 10% chance of playing out. But have I written that off entirely as a possibility? No. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not gambling my net worth on that idea, but I haven't entirely written it off either. Yeah, last stream was incredible. XO was a legend. I think I'll take credit for it though and say it was, you know, the sort of Parkinson interview style technique that really brought out the alpha. Not the fact that my guest is a fucking incredible trader. Survivorship bias is strong. Yeah, and that's it. And I genuinely think that people will return to what is the best casino that has ever been created. So, yeah, I don't think we'll see a bull run. Like, squeaky chair, yeah, I know, I'm sat on my ass today, it's really lazy. Normally I stand up. The casino does like hookers though, it does. especially with my cheap squeaky chair my rubbish microphone and my large my large empty room that I'm sat in because I can't afford furniture. These are bear market things, guys. Fucking hell. Right, and on that note of my poverty, you're welcome to use my ref link to fund my new chair as well as some pads on the walls. I better take some profit on this Bitcoin short. Actually, maybe I can treat myself. Just sit under it. Yeah, maybe I can just sit on the padding. Wet blanket. Yeah, fucking terrible, isn't it, boys? But yeah, I've been going for 2 hours. Well, an hour and a half. Wow, I've really ranted today. It's been good. We definitely started off with some good stuff, I think. Because I actually did some prep this week, which you may or may not be able to tell. Buy this, Charlie. Oh no, do I click links? Do I click links, boys? It is Ari, but don't know. It's probably going to be some weeb stuff, isn't it? Herman Miller. Mate, this is a bear market. Can't buy a Herman Miller. Googly. Oh dear. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. I will post this on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch. It doesn't actually keep it on Twitch, and it doesn't keep like the XO one on Twitch. It keeps it for, I think, 21 days. So if you want to go back and look at the XO one in particular, which is brilliant, highly recommend it, even if I say so myself. It's because XO's a legend, not me. It's on my YouTube channel, which link is probably somewhere below, and if not, it's in my link tree, which is on my Twitter profile. So thank you all again for tuning in. Much love, and I will get a new chair and some foam for my next stream. Peace out, have a good week trading. See you soon.